Hey guys, FBI server analysis. I just recorded and I forgot to put this on. So real fast, let's do the locations. The locations for this server. Who did we just fight? 315. One off from Ben John 316. Alright, 315. Here they are if you want to write them down. It's a very short list. They don't have many teams. Or I just didn't find them. 673, 707, 390, 584, 408, 736, 763, and the two big teams, 521, 626, and 610, 560. I'm going to do a quick flyby. Not going to be like a usual one, but alright. There's no 40s. This server was almost forbidden to go outside the bubble, and they had about 5 or 6 guys that could. They are among the best in discipline, so don't expect a whole lot of drops. Alright, I'm at this one. I gotta find the main guy. He gave me so much problems. But it's kind of fun. Oh, here you go. Smoogle. The S guy. Super high buffs. If you watch the other half of this video, I showed you all of it. This one never showed up. And that looks to be all. That's it. And war. This looks like the main team. The other team just has a big player, but this has the accumulation of all the paid keeps. Wizard, Demon, the A symbol, XP. He actually tried to help defend their temple. Icing didn't do nothing. Wrench did nothing. Berg was the #1 active player for this team. This guy. And striker. Okay, that looks to be it. Like I said, I know Smoogle and Berg were crazy strong, so we'll go with that. Alright, how do I cut this off? Cut me off. Hey, field agents, and some good information to share. First, let's do our server analysis, and here's the story about what happened. I got horse drawn and beat, but So I was negative. Almost a billion points. Now let me show you where it came from. So their big guy comes over. He does a test hit on me. You know, I tense up. I flex up and get ready for something. Notice the time. It's 20:20 on the top. I scout back. You know, I assess the situation. He's by himself. Look around for about 5-10 minutes and then don't worry about it. Go back to killing Ymers. Might have been a little auto setting going on. And it is my fault. I got cocky and I left my shield down. I didn't think anybody was going to strike me. This happens. These guys cannoned me and took a big chunk out. It looks worse than it is. I was like 400,000 points negative from this. And, I mean, that's doable. And, or 400 million. However, we fix that in one hit sometimes, but I could have worked that out. So this happens. Guy was packing a little bit more punch than what I thought. They slammed down on the T11s and it paid off. $33 million of them, but so that took me. I was negative 400. So what I went back and did after that, what you need to understand is I finished the Ymers, and then as soon as the Ymers was over, I was pissed. I went over there. I went straight to their base, and I parked essentially like here, like right here in front of their base, because that's the safest place on the board. If you go over there, you really got 3 ways of doing it. You can be a ghost. You can be a big, like a power plant big, which is what I am. Or you can be somebody that duck and weaves and does all that stuff. I like to sit down and get comfortable. By being here, you can maintain visual check on the enemy. So if they rallied me, I would have had the opportunity to go from here to here and then pop one person. Or if they got ready to rally me and they were trying to be smart and they were maneuvering their soldiers around and prepping for the rally, I would have seen it. I would have seen reinforcing and diluting soldiers out. But so if you're doing a power plant and you're a big player, that's what you would do. We would go straight up to him and then send your marches out to the temples, but be in front of the enemy base. And just be hoping that if they start a rally, you're quicker on the pullback from the rallies than they are. Or I might even ate the rally just so I could hit one of the players. I mean, that's an option too. Because I was negative 400. if I'd have got a hold of somebody, I probably would have scored 400 points. And it would have been either break even or a slight gain. So that was my risk. But so I went over there. They messed up my humors. So I went over there and I took the monsters for 6, 7, 8 hours. Most of them were sleeping, but the ones that were on. But then I came back in the daytime when they were awake too, and did it again when I woke up. Now, in saying that, I did end up taking 2 of their temples while I was in front of their base. I take the left temple and I take the far right temple. And I do that because like they were here. So they were kind of like in the midpoint. They could have hit all 3, but it's just more of a hassle for somebody to try to fight it. You got to use a lot of skips going across the boards like that, or a lot of teleports. But I didn't really have no struggle on the temples. They just let me have them pretty much. Now, when I didn't, and then the reason I didn't take the 3rd temple was they had a super player from their team on a different team. It wasn't on war, it was on field. He came over and started taking our hunter temple. And I really didn't want the temple. I really didn't want the turtles. So, but I need to. Now this, I messed up one other thing. So I went and I tormented them Saturday, Friday night, Saturday I did all that. I told it out of order. So I did all that. I went to BOC. Now BOC, I had a rough match. I posted on the live. I got down to like 10 billion. I was close to getting 0, but I'd already flipped over to my T1 gear. So I had took my wall general off. I had messed around with my sub-cities. I was jacking up the ground and like took off my siege equipment and all that. Came back, didn't shield, went back to YouTube, and whenever you do a live, you gotta go back and you gotta publish it. So I was publishing it and I was writing the details. I was there probably 7, 8 minutes. But that was my 7, 8 minutes that got me my biggest black eye I've ever got. Not that one. My biggest black eye ever. I ain't never lost 4 billion before. But I had a ground general with numbers on. And I did have an assistant that had a siege and range, but all the equipment is running the Augustus equipment for ground and mount, and it was on numbers. And I had tucked my sub-city generals out, and I took some of the siege out because I had no siege in the battlefield. And they just straight up molested me. And I ain't making excuses. I mean, they did a clean hit. I was careless. It just says you got to keep your head in the game. That's all I can say. Because I look at my buffs. That's nowhere near. I'm usually running 2,900. They just played me. Oh, almost all my 15s. No, 15 didn't get touched. 10s, 7s. Yeah. I had 2 people on my team come help me with that. Which it actually came out good. It was a siege rally. They threw some ground and range in me. They didn't get hurt much, but I guess, yeah. I wish somebody would have threw some big siege in me. But yeah, I got slapped around. But that was my carelessness. And I was wigging out thinking that was going to be me costing the server, because I was like 2.2 billion points negative after that. 2.2 billion negative. And then I worked myself down. Like I said, the final score, I was a little less than a billion. I worked 1.2 billion of them back from running my temple game. Alright. Okay, so back to the original story. So like I said, the war, they slap shot me in the humerus, and they slap shot me at the end of BOC when I had the dumb setup on. They just had some really good timing. Now this guy, Smog, Smeagol, this guy, I tried to defend the temple. He was trying to take the temple for 15 hours. I held it all the way to the last, I think it was 3.5 or 4.5 hours. I posted it on the live on the details when I lost it. I held it 2 hours for over 10 hours, for 80 hours. No? 10 hours. And that was actively like on it. So much that I put a post on YouTube for people to come and watch. Alright. So they let me have theirs, but damn sure enough he wasn't going to let me have mine. Alright. Alright, I take it back. This war guy, XP, he knocked me off. He knocked me off 3 or 4 times. And this, I just had a really bad day. Have y'all ever done this before? I know I hit the preset button, but the game said I double tapped, and I just sent the ground with no general. God almighty. I suicided it. And then I tried to hit him one time. Dude is a beast. He had really good buffs. He was big. He had bigger buffs than me, but hell, many people as I fight, if you always punch down, you'll never get any better. So it was good to fight up for a change. Yeah. Yeah. So I had some wins. A lot of this, you score by the kills, not by the damage. So like these, I was scoring heavy on them. The power loss he was winning, but I was scoring on the kills. But the guy was a genius, and he was playing a good temple game. I told y'all I was going to share what the secret was. Secret was, usually you get experience with the temple. You watch what the person's throwing. You know, they go in the patterns. You know, I throw ground, you throw mount. You try to hit my mount with the range. I go back and I flip and I try to hit your range with the ground. Whoever ends up lagging out on the temple and getting stuck ends up getting the one being hit. 9 times out of 10, whoever's got the better internet connection wins the temple exchanges. Because it'll be whoever lags up and can't get their march out. And so, I mean, that's it. But there is a second level to that when you get into the upper level of playing the temple game. And me and this guy was playing it because what do you do when your enemy uses 3 different marches off of one dragon? He had his white dragon set up. He had alright, this is the range. So he had his range. It was normal. I should have bookmarked these. I'm going to pause it. Now, on doing the temples is unlike hitting a keep. When you hit a keep, you got to worry about, you know you're not going to zero the keep, so you got to worry about the levels. So I had to make an adjustment early on from that as well, because I had a keep set up, you know, small on the top, and it got a little bigger, widened up at the 13s. Now watch his setup. This is a temple setup, big at the top, and there ain't no middle. Big on the top, big on the top. That's how a ground, the ground beat the mount. Well, the mount beat the ground, but the mount beat the ground. But point-wise, he scored 64,000, and I scored 3,223,000 because Ebony wants that money, and if you're spending life stones, they will reward the person that made you spend the life stones. Healing doesn't pay the same as killing. So it's important to keep healing, keep healing. It's going to cost you a shit ton of resources and gold and skips. But if you take that easy option on the gems and the life stones, your opponent is going to score. Alright, I'm going to pause it again. Now this is the other thing I want to show this. Most of the times on the temple, we're doing this right here because his objective is to make that clock go. So he'll send the 1. It's my goal to beat the 1, so I had to send the 11. Well then, ever so often, he didn't hit it full all the time, but ever so often he'd hit it. But when he hits it, you need to take a glance and see what he's hitting it with. So I took a glance, and this was the white dragon, and it was that range, that ground setup he had, the 2 and 2. We go back to doing these 1 and 1s, and here's another hit. My mount hit his ground general, and I lost against my mount versus his ground. Why did I lose? I was still running that keep outfit. It was thin at the top and got widened. Look at what he's running. The big on the top and minuscule layers, because it's not like defending a keep or attacking a keep. You're on a temple. It's different. And this is the live example proof of it. And I'll show you the proof, because later on I adjusted my layers to be a temple hitter, and it changed the outcome drastically. I'll pause it. Here it goes. He got me again on the same setup. My ground hitting his mount. I lost on the power and won on the points. 64 to 2 million. Here you'll notice, like I said, I was punching way above my weight class. He had me by the bus by about 300% on all attributes. But I pulled the win. This is ground versus ground. And it was only because his march size came up short on this one. But I had adjusted. No, I hadn't adjusted yet. Yeah, I did. Because I got 1.5 of those. So, yeah, I adjusted to be with him. Now, here was that other. Now, I showed y'all that one march he had. Well, I showed y'all the two marches he has. He has the one white dragon march that's set up for this guy and Basil. And now he has this guy and Polygonius for his mount. So he's running ground and mount both off the white dragon. And once in a while he would run just solid ground. He'd just do a quick ground strike with all ground troops. See, he went and did the mount again. Which the mount ended up hanging me up a couple times, because then I got to the point where I had to guess at what he was sending when I wanted to try to do a reaction strike to him. I ended up scouting him about 1,000 times, but whenever you force the enemy to scout you and you're on their... See, now here's where he went back with Basil to the ground. But whenever you force the enemy to scout you and you're trying to take their temple, well, the scout's going to automatically give you 4 seconds. Maybe more than 4 seconds, but at least 4 seconds. This might have been the one that made me do it. My range versus his mount, and I lost. And then I lost my freaking mind, because I was trying to figure out why. And then I seen he had 3 million T13s, 1.5 14s, and 500 13s. And I was running a keep hitter. I run a keep hitter against him. And absolutely was garbage. So keep this one. Now this one, he scored 700,000. Multiplied by the troop numbers, and then I did 3.3 times the troop numbers. Now each troop's worth a different value. So, I mean, this is how I went from 2.2 billion to not 2.2 billion negative. And I was like 700 or 800 million. And then the last 10 seconds, he caught me and I lost like 700 million on the last strike in the last 10 seconds. Alright. I need y'all to see that when I adjusted my troops. Plus, I want to show you. Alright, I'm going to pause it top. Now, in the course of scouting his, there was actually 4 things he sent to the temple. Once in a while, he would send the white with all ground. He sent the white with pure mount. And then he would also send the regular ground march, regular mount march. So it was 4 things he was sending off of that white dragon. Now here, I told you that mount, that ground, that when I lost that range is when I changed it. I changed and I was running 2.2 million grounds, 1.1, 1.5, and then little crappy things on the bottom instead of my normal 1.1 and 1.2. But now here's the outcome difference. This was his range, and now his range was a siege hit. Now he's running a keep hitter. I don't know. He's got 4.5 T12 range. But now this happens. Oh, I went from not being able to hit them to being able to hit them, but now we're losing. Whenever you lose, you're losing 740 million running this setup. Because I actually lost some too, and I lost that much as well. Almost 2 million mount, 1 million 14s, 1.2 13s, and then little next to nothing underneath. But he had 2.2, 2.7, 2.2 and 2.7. It just stings a little bit worse when you do it. But I ain't gonna brag because I'm about to show you one where I get jammed up. I didn't win them all, but some of them here I lost. Just here's the mount report. Again, he wasn't healing, he's just using his life stones, but when it comes to scoring, that makes a difference. So I'm running 2 million, 1.2, 1.7, and then little layers. He was running 2.3, 2.7, and then little layers. But now you notice these numbers are just getting jacked up. Alright, I told you I'd show it, because I ain't bragging. I'm trying to show y'all things out here. Here was my mount. 2000. 1.2. 300. Here was his range. Well, he stuck that foot all the way up my ass on this one. 4.5 T12 range. He acted like I was an Arctic. But look at the results. He won the points on this one. He had 60. I scored 64 times the troops. And he was 2 million times the troops. Yeah, he filleted me on that. And here's that same range setup of his with the same exact setup. But here's me hitting it with the ground. It's just that 4.5, I don't know, it's so hard to get through to it. My ground troops, I took half as much power loss. I scored really, really well on this one though. And T12s are worth a lot of points too. Even though the power wasn't good, it was a great scoring point. But yeah, I was at the 2.2, 1.2, 1.6. And like I say, he had the same setup with that 4.5. So that wraps up 10-ish, 11-ish hours of that. That's all the fighting I had was the 2 times I was hit. 7, 8 times I got hit off the temples. Little next to nothing troops, and then me and him was just throwing bombs like we were 2 gods fighting in Olympus or something. But those are big, massive hits. I intended on this to be the server analysis, but it's more likely going to be temple strategies or server war strategies. Talking about the temple, whenever you do the temple, oh, I can't do the temple now. So you tap the temple, and you're going towards the temple, and you see the enemies at the temple. If you can place 1 troop in the temple, and this is how you ask how they know, you take 1 troop in the temple, and then you go to this screen, and then whenever they go to hit it, you tap the button, and you see what kind of troops are coming at you. You have to be really fast, but it'll give you a glimpse of what's coming at you, and you're not totally hitting it in the blind. If you stayed here this long, I guess that's one of the rewards for staying. We had made a encirclement around the thing to make it a little bit more difficult for him. It didn't do the trick, but it could have been the cost of him getting that last hit, because there was more of a gap area to cover to get here. Anyway, I still need to do the other post. I appreciate everybody that's here, and this will be our little secret. I'll see y'all around.